Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, June 17th. Time for the daily reflection. What a ride these last 12 months have been. I was looking over some papers this morning as I was getting ready and waiting for the ELCA's commemoration of the Emmanuel 9 service to begin. And by the way, if you missed it this morning, you can still catch it. You can watch it on the YouTube channel. Just Google or search for ELCA commemoration of the Emmanuel 9, and it'll come up. I tell you, it's a little over, it's about an hour and a half maybe, but I thought it was well worth what was there. Back to my revelation. As I was going through the papers, I came across a contract between Pastor Paul Tice and Shepherd of the Hills Lutheran Church that both parties signed so that Pastor Paul could become our preacher during my sabbatical. I realized then it had been a little over a year since I ventured onto the sabbatical trail. I remember being home for a couple of days, relaxing and getting ready for our journey to Australia. I was mentally preparing to board the long flight to Sydney when my timer went off to tell me that the commemoration service was beginning. Well, I thought as the service began, I really didn't want to go on that 16-hour flight again, ever. As lunch began, I was drawn back to the present. And that's when it really hit me. Last year, I missed being with you all for 12 weeks. Today, I'm at 13 weeks and counting of missing being in worship with you. I never expected it would happen 2 years in a row. During the last weeks of my sabbatical last year, I began to focus on finishing my ministry here strong. I was still debating with myself about how much longer I was willing to be actively serving, and I'd begun to narrow it down, and then I started the all-important checklist of goals to accomplish. My mentor, whom I'm still in contact with, said that I should set reasonable goals and a reasonable number of them, and I did just that. When I came back in September, our conversations continued with further refinement of goals, hopes, and expectations, which led me to share with you at our February congregational meeting that I would be retiring in 2021. It was an emotional moment for me. I'd been thinking about it, I'd written the statement about it, and yet saying those words on that day brought me to the edge. I recall that the words suddenly became blurry on the paper and realized it was because there were tears in my eyes. Now we're at 13 weeks and counting for gathering for worship using new techniques. Weeks of gathering with pictures of you instead of you in the chairs. Weeks of sharing the sacrament in a new way. Weeks of wondering what the new normal will look like. Weeks of waiting and hoping. Last year, Joan and I traveled and saw friends we hadn't seen in a long time. I got to spend time with two of the two best grandchildren in the world. I had, and I still have, hopes of doing more traveling and spending time with our amazing grandkids. What a 12-month journey this has been. We've missed getting together to celebrate Easter, Pentecost. There are funerals that are on hold until later. We've missed gathering to celebrate and eat great food at the Shy Dinner. We've missed the sea of red that is Pentecost here at Shepherd of the Hills. But then again, we've been able to care for one another. We miss those moments because we do care about others. We've stayed home and not traveled as we might have so that those who are vulnerable would be safe. We've gone viral because we don't want to have all those funerals taking place. We've worshiped online not because we're afraid, but to safeguard all of us. It has been an unusual 12 months, nothing like it I've ever lived through before, and I suspect nothing like it any of you have seen either. And then, in these months, it has also been very normal. We've seen injustice, and we've responded. We've seen pain, and we've raised our voices to comfort. We've been rocked by harsh behaviors, and we've raised our voices and bodies to stand with those who have been hurt and killed. These past 12 months have been very normal in that way. While we may not have been able to come together in one place, 580 Trinity Drive, or in our small group meeting places, we have come together in new ways to share our fears, anger, and hope. And we continue to hope. We hope for a cure. We hope for a new world. We hope for a new understanding. We hope for peace. We hope for genuine respect. We hope for a reunion with friends. We will always live in hope. I closed my memory moments earlier today, those moments of remembering sabbatical time, hoping that next year at this time, we would be able to do all those activities we crave so much, gather together in worship and fellowship, listen to good music live, gather in fellowship around a meal, both in worship and in a party, gather to celebrate, gather to mark transitions. I live in hope because, as I read from Paul 2 weeks ago, suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, character produces hope, and hope does not disappoint us. That's from Romans chapter 5. We will not be disappointed, not in our hope. It is in our hope that I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Well, at least your name scrolling through as you write comments or connect in. Your name as you like or love or care or smile or whatever during our worship time. And I remind you, please wash your hands 20 seconds at a time, a couple of times a day. Also, of course, use that hand lotion to soften those hands. Joan reminds me that my hands are getting awfully scaly because I forget the second half. I wash, but I don't always lotion. Stay at home if you're sick, not feeling well. Love one another. Practice the all-important physical distancing, unless, of course, you're one family, and then you can sit side by side. And in the words of Sergeant Esterhaus, as he dismisses us at the end of this roll call gathering of reflection, be careful out there.